Why did you write your many books? And could you also talk a little bit about your new book that's coming out?
Okay, so my first book actually started as my personal notes. And then, because my notes when I write by hand are not so organized. And when I wanted to prepare for a class or workshop, I had to go over all my notebooks, and always a problem. So I decided it's time to organize it in a more, organized manner, and to have also photos so I can remember. And then it started to be like a booklet that I thought, okay, if it is helpful for me, maybe it could be helpful for other teachers. So I wrote it in Hebrew first, the language here in Israel, and I printed 300 copies, and it was sold out just like this. And initially, I didn't think it would be such a success, but then people started to tell me, you have to do it in English, you have to do it in English. And one teacher took it to the United States, and the book in Hebrew, and she gave some workshop working with a chair, and she came back and she told me, Eyal, you must have it in English. So then I decided, well, I have to translate it. And this is how A Chair for Yoga came. And then when A Chair for Yoga was published, and it was really such success, because many people from all corners of the world appreciated it, and I got so many beautiful feedbacks, and it really, fills my heart with joy that my modest work, can help so many people, and all the reactions that I got, and then I thought, okay, I should continue this work and give the community more tools. And I combine, I think, my 40 years of experience in yoga, well, 35 Iyengar yoga, but 40 years yoga, and my writing ability, because I used to work. I have a PhD in computer science, and I used to work in the Open University in Israel to write books about computer science. But it does give you a skill of writing. So I think many people thought that my books are, like precise, organized, and this, I think, come from the computer science side. So I think, yeah, I hope I have something to offer to the yoga community, specifically Iyengar yoga community, but also other practitioners. So I continue, props for yoga, 1, 2, 3, and I hope 4 will come, which should be about backbends. And and about the new book. So as I said, the Chair for Yoga was really, and it is still my bestseller from all the books. There's something, very wide appealing in this book, and not only for Iyengar yoga, probably. And since then, of course, I continue to practice and to play with the chair. And I found many new variations. And also, people, start to call me the chairman, because
Yes, Jawahar calls you the chairman.
The chairman, yes. So I became like a chair expert. So a lot of people contributed the ideas, which of course I try out, and then I try with my students and so on. And it was accumulated to justify a new book. And the new book is really double, the number. It includes all the variation in the original A Chair for Yoga, but it doubles it. And also, A Chair for Yoga, is a limited budget, so the photos are not so professional, and the editing is not. So now I took all the photos. There are about 600 photos, or even more, and design is a little bit improved and so on. And I'm really excited, because I think tomorrow it will go to print.
Oh.
And in 2 weeks, I'll have the copies, and we'll be able to spread them.
Yeah, wow, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And what was your inspiration for writing the most recent book, the Psychophysical Lab?
Okay, so as I said, I always mention the class. Actually, it's Prashanji always talk about yoga practice as a lab. And I have mentioned it in classes, and I have one student, Ohad Nachtomi, which is professor of philosophy. So, the philosophy people, they always ask questions. Yeah. So after a class, he used to come to me, okay, it's a lab, but what kind of a lab? What do we study in a lab? And then we started to discuss, and he told me, okay, we need to write a book about it because it's a very interesting question. And initially, I was hesitating because I really wanted to continue with the series of props for yoga. But then, we started to discuss and ignite my interest. And I think really the problem of connection between body and mind in the Western tradition is problematic, is very problematic because there is dualistic approach. And in yoga, we see that, body and mind are so intimately connected. So I think it's a very interesting subject to use yoga to explore these connections between body and mind. And he wrote the part of the philosophy. There's a whole chapter about the history of this mind-body problem in philosophy, because it's one of the major problems in philosophy, and many philosophers think that it cannot be solved. Principally, it cannot be solved. Yeah. But we think yoga offers, well, maybe if not solution, but it can dissolve the problem, because we suggest that the problem is because of wrong thinking and wrong terminology about the problem. So if you change your view, the problem dissolves. So I think it was very, I enjoyed this project. It was very interesting.
It was, I remember you sharing you're sharing a little bit about your book the last time that you were in Canada, and a lot of people were quite intrigued with that. And so when we got copies into the studio, they flew off the shelves, and a lot of people really appreciated it as well, because it does tap into something that is not always really discussed, and it's not usually discussed for, I think, beginners as well. It's something that usually you start to encounter as you mature in the practice. So it's nice to have that, and it's accessible for beginners or anyone who's beginning the practice, or perhaps people who are just interested in the philosophy of it. You've kind of got it all in there, which is really
It combines a practical part, explorations, with philosophy, the chapter that Ohad wrote, and then a discussion, which is, I think, very rarely, I don't know any book that discuss the benefits of yoga. Chapter 2 of the book is like a long answer to the question, why yoga is good. What does yoga, what does yoga do for you? Yeah. In terms of body and mind, it's not only, of course, it's good for the body. It's a very good system to keeping your health, immune system, and so on, but also for your mind. So there is a discussion of a lot of, things that you get from practicing yoga. We are together with Ohad now. We are working about a new book, which will be Yoga in Nature.
Oh.
Because I like to practice in the beach. I live near the beach, Mediterranean beach, and I practice mostly in the summer, which in Israel it's like 7 or 8 months. Yeah. And I practice on the beach in the morning, early in the morning, like 6 o'clock until 8 or 9 a.m. And Ohad also followed me and he's my student already 15 years, so he started to go also to the beach to practice. And then I found many ways to use the sand as a prop. For example, for Sarvangasana, you need like a platform. So what I do in the sand, I make a little pit in the sand, and the head is lower than the shoulders. And there are many, many ways to use the sand. And then we decided also, because sometimes we practice in the desert, so there will be 3 chapters, practice on the beach, practice in the forest and practice in the mountains.
Oh, beautiful.
And it will be more like a album because there will be many nice color photos. So it will be a little bit different than my previous books.
That's beautiful, Eyal. That's really beautiful. And why do you enjoy so much practicing within nature? Is there a different quality for you in your experience practicing in nature as opposed to?
Yeah, definitely. It's something really, it's hard to explain why, but when I go in the morning to the beach and I just take a swim in the water and then I go out, I really connect to the practice immediately, which, you know, sometimes in the morning when I start in the studio, it takes me like half an hour to really get into the practice, to really, you know, absorb in the practice. And in the beach, it's immediate. And also, it seems like naturally, the asanas become effortlessly. I don't know how to explain, why is it? But maybe the energy, you know, from the elements of nature.
Yeah, Mother Nature's
Yes.
holding you for your practice.
The water, the wind, the sand, everything.
Yeah.
Somehow the practice flows so beautifully and without effort. So, you know, Prayatna Shaitilya, you know, when the asana becomes perfect, when the effort to perform it becomes effortless. This I experience at the beach mostly, and also in the studio, of course, but in the beach it comes very easily.
Mm-hmm. Nice.